You're not on the guest list. That's what the hostess said when she looked down at her clipboard, eyebrows knitting together in the annoyed way people get when they think you're lying. Behind her, the newly renovated Redwood Crest Lodge in Northern California buzzed with wedding chaos. Camera shutters clicking, florists darting around with last-minute orchids, and a live violinist rehearsing soft, fluttery notes for the ceremony. I gave her my name again, slowly this time. Aria Lowell, sister of the groom. Her face didn't soften. She tapped a fingernail against the list. Right, I see you, but your seating is... She hesitated, glanced over my shoulder, and motioned toward a dim corner behind the catering prector. A lone, wobbling metal chair sat next to a storage closet, a mop leaning against it like a silent witness. This can't be right, I said. My voice stayed calm, but my jaw tightened. It's where you're assigned. She forced a brittle smile. Family placements came directly from the couple. The couple. My brother, Cass, and his perfect bride for show, Elena Caro. I looked through the glass doors leading into the main hall. Everyone was gathered under chandeliers shaped like golden branches. Friends, cousins, business partners. Every round table inside was draped in rich navy linens set with crystal glassware and custom menus printed in shimmering ink. And me? I got a view of the industrial ice machine. I set down the pale blue gift box I'd brought, wrapped meticulously the night before, and lowered myself into the flimsy chair. The bride's relatives walked past me in glittering gowns, barely hiding their smirks. It wasn't about the seat. It was the message. The last thing my father had said to me that morning echoed sharply. Don't start drama today, Arya. It's Cass's first wedding. First wedding. Like he was already counting on there being a second. My mother didn't say anything. She just patted my arm and whispered that I looked presentable enough, which was her way of approving without caring. I tucked a loose strand of hair behind my ear, straightened my deep sapphire dress, and chose the only weapon I had left. Silence. No protest, no tears. Just quiet. Outside the banquet hall, the air conditioners hummed like insects. I could hear laughter spill through the doorway, each burst reminding me of the years spent being the afterthought, useful when needed, forgotten when not. 5 minutes after I took my seat, the lights inside flickered. A violinist screeched the wrong note. Someone shouted for the sound technician. The chandeliers trembled overhead. Then, a woman screamed so loudly, the door behind me rattled against its hinges. And that right there was when everything changed. But to explain how we got there, you need to know what led to the moment I decided to detonate my brother's perfect day. Northern California forests smell like cedar, cold wind, and money, at least the part my brother's bride chose. Elena was obsessed with aesthetics. It must look like a European fairy tale, she told my family when they toured the venue. My parents loved her instantly. She was everything they wanted their son to marry. Polished, affluent, networking gold. Me? I was just the older sister who paid her own rent, kept her head down, and didn't bother them with problems. Invisible was convenient for everyone. Growing up, Cass was the miracle baby, the prodigy, the prince of Lowell household. Photos around our home proved it. School portraits of him lined every hallway, every mantel. Trophies, certificates, newspaper clippings. My mother even displayed his childhood finger painting in a frame. My drawings went straight to the trash. When I was 17, I overheard my parents talking during one of his award ceremonies. Mom, Arya's resilient. She doesn't need the attention. Dad, exactly. She'll manage. Cass needs more support. He's destined for big things. Destined for big things. I guess that included marrying a woman who made him feel like royalty. The last time we were all together before this wedding was 2 years ago on Thanksgiving. Cass arrived late, Elena in tow, wearing a dress so tight I wondered how she breathed. The whole night she flaunted engagement rumors. My parents lapped it up like thirsty plants. Meanwhile, I cleared plates, refilled drinks, fixed the garbage disposal, and listened as they talked about Cass's life, his job, his friends, his future. My future never came up. But the moment that really marked me happened that night while looking for a missing wine opener. I rummaged through my mother's bedroom drawer and found a marble-patterned notebook with gold lettering, the Caro Lowell Future Family Book. Inside were pages of wedding sketches, dream home ideas, baby name lists, everything about Cass and Elena. Not a single mention of me. Not my life, not my milestones. I closed it slowly, heart thudding hard enough to sting. That night I learned a painful truth. There's being forgotten, and then there's being deliberately excluded. So when I saw Cass with Elena near the entrance of the Redwood Crest Lodge earlier that morning, she in her ivory gown, he in a tailored Murray suit, I'd expected at least a smile, a nod, something. Instead, he barely glanced my way before Elena whispered something to him, and he followed her inside without a word. And then the seating arrangement made the family message crystal clear. Stay out of sight. I should have let it slide, should have swallowed it like every other insult. But then, Elena made a mistake. She came looking for me. The staff kept pushing carts in and out of the service corridor, metal wheels squealing, trays clattering, chefs barking orders. Each time the door flapped open, I caught glimpses of the ballroom, the embroidered table runners, the champagne pyramid, the floral arch where vows would be exchanged. Every time people saw me, they looked away quickly. I was an eyesore on their curated backdrop. Then heels clicked sharply against the marble floor. I didn't have to look up to know who it was. Elena stepped into the hallway, veil trailing behind her like fog. Her dress shimmered under the faint hallway light. She looked like a porcelain doll freshly packaged. Except her eyes, they were cold and calculating. "There you are," she said, sucking on her teeth as if I'd inconvenienced her by simply existing. I didn't stand, didn't greet her, just stared at her evenly. She crossed her arms, bouquet dangling from her fingers. "Your presence out here," she said, voice slicing through the air, "is actually perfect. I didn't want you close to the front anyway." I blinked. "Why?" She chuckled, a sound like glass cracking. "Because you tend to ruin things without even trying, and I don't want any awkwardness in the photos. You understand, right?" My heart thudded in my chest once, slowly, then froze into something colder. "You put me out here?" I asked quietly. "Of course," she said, flipping her hair. "Cass agreed. It's better for everyone if you stay tucked away." Her gaze traveled over my dress like she was assessing a stain. "You know how some people just don't fit the aesthetic?" She smirked. "You don't fit ours." The silence that followed didn't feel like humiliation. It felt like ignition. Finally, I stood, smoothing my dress with steady hands. "You invited me," I said. "You could have just told me not to come." "Oh, no," she said quickly. "Your parents wanted you here, but we needed to be sure you wouldn't overshadow anything." I laughed once, a small, hollow sound. "You think I want your spotlight?" "No," she said. "There's nothing you could take from me." That was her fatal miscalculation, because 3 weeks earlier, I'd discovered something she absolutely didn't want anyone to know. 3 weeks earlier, I met someone who changed everything. Aiden Creek, one of Elena's former coworkers from the Bay Area. We weren't even close, just acquaintances. But over drinks, he mentioned accidentally seeing messages on a shared desktop. Messages from Elena to another man. Screenshots. Logs. Receipts. A months-long affair carried out behind Cass's back. Plans to keep Cass strung along long enough to get a down payment on a Napa house. Comments about how easy he was to manipulate. Aiden sent everything to me. He wasn't spiteful, just concerned for my brother, and I hadn't planned to use it. Until now. Elena leaned a little closer, perfume overwhelming. She whispered, "Try not to be seen. I'd hate for anyone to ask who you are." I looked her dead in the eye. "Someone will be asking you questions soon enough." Her smirk faltered. "What's that supposed to mean?" But I didn't answer. I simply picked up the pale blue gift box from beside my chair, the box containing the truth. Her eyes followed it, suspicion darkening her features. But before she could say anything else, the wedding coordinator called her back inside. As she walked away, the train of her dress gliding like a threat, I felt something shift inside me. Not rage, not jealousy, just certainty. If they wanted to treat me like a ghost, fine. I would haunt them with the truth. The gift table near the ballroom entrance glowed under soft amber lights, stacked with silver-wrapped boxes and envelopes sealed with wax. A staff member fluffed ribbons and rearranged bouquets with meticulous care. I slipped my own box into the center of the display. Pale blue, silver ribbon, untouched. Inside was a glass picture frame, and beneath it, the printed messages, dozens of them, every detail of Elena's affair. I stepped back, blending into a crowd of distant relatives filing in. Then I walked out of the building. The air outside had cooled. The redwood forest rustled in slow, heavy waves. The ceremony music began inside. Delicate, sugary strings meant to pull at heartstrings. I reached the parking lot before I heard the first crash. Glass. Maybe a decoration falling. Then a voice shouted. Then another. I stopped walking. Inside the ballroom, a relative had decided the couple should open one special gift early for photos. They picked mine. Of course they did. Here's what happened from the accounts guests later posted online. Elena untied the ribbon, smiling for cameras. She pulled off the lid, saw the frame, lifted it. Then the note slid out, face up. Her cousin Mateo read it before she did. His face went slack. The room quieted. Even the violinist lowered her bow. Evan, my brother, took the note before anyone could hide it. Guests watched as he read each printed message. He believes anything if I cry hard enough. I just need to stay with him until I get the Napa house. He's so gullible, it's adorable. The prenup won't matter if he doesn't read it carefully. Each line sliced deeper. Someone gasped loudly. Phones came up. Whispers surged. Elena grabbed at the papers, hissing, "Stop! Those are fake! Someone's trying to sabotage me!" Evan stepped back, jaw trembling. "Elena, these are from your number." No, they are. Someone planned this." Her voice grew shrill. Her mother, Marissa Lowell, approached slowly. The authority in her expression was unmistakable. "Elena," she said, voice cold enough to freeze breath. "I received the same screenshots in an anonymous email this morning." The room erupted. Elena's perfect posture collapsed. She looked around wildly, like a trapped animal. "Aria did this. She's jealous. She's always hated me." Evan cut her off. "Aria didn't write these messages. She printed them," Elena screeched. His voice rose, not loud, but sharp. "He printed what you wrote." She froze, dead still. Then she whispered, "Cass, you have to believe me." But instead of responding, He reached into his jacket and slid out a folded envelope. He placed it on the nearest table. "What's that?" she asked. He didn't flinch. Annulment papers. Her face drained to chalk. "No, Cass, you're humiliating me." He stepped back. "You humiliated yourself." A wine glass shattered somewhere in the room. A child burst into tears. The music cut abruptly. Guests pulled out cameras despite staff begging them not to. Elena lunged for him. "You can't leave me. You can't do this." Her heel caught the hem of her dress. She stumbled, crashing into a tiered display of candles. Wax splattered across the table. My mother approached her slowly, expression torn between pity and mortification. Elena sobbed, clutching at her gown, smearing mascara across her cheeks. "You're all monsters. You want me ruined." My father's voice, quiet but resolute, carried across the room. "Arya didn't ruin you. Your choices did." Those words hit her harder than anything else. The groom's mother was the one who delivered the final blow. She leaned close to her and whispered, but several guests heard it anyway, "You should never have tried to hide this, and you should never have treated Arya the way you did." Then she stepped away, signaling the end. By the time the staff began extinguishing candles and cleaning the spilled wax, chaos was in full swing. Guests argued, rumors spread like wildfire, a bridesmaid fainted, someone vomited near the dessert table. Elena sank into a chair, bouquet crushed in her lap, staring at nothing. She never noticed me, because I was already gone. From my car, I watched the once beautiful Redwood Crest Lodge dissolve into hysteria. People rushed out, whispering into phones, hands flailing in gossip-fueled excitement. Some murmured, "The poor groom." Others whispered, "Did you see Elena's face?" But a few, just a few, said, "Good for his sister." I didn't feel ecstatic. I didn't feel triumphant. But I felt justified. For the first time in years, I wasn't invisible. The drive back to Santa Fe took hours. My phone buzzed nonstop. Calls from my mother, missed messages from Cass, even two numbers I didn't recognize. I didn't answer any of them. My apartment was dark when I finally walked in, the faint smell of eucalyptus lingering from a candle I'd forgotten to blow out that morning. I dropped my keys on the counter and stared at my reflection in the black TV screen. My dress still looked impeccable, not a wrinkle, not a drop of spilled wine, not a single sign of the chaos I'd left behind. It looked less like clothing, more like armor. My phone buzzed again. "Mom, please call us. You didn't deserve that seat. We didn't know." I set the phone face down. Because they did know. They always knew. They let it happen because it was easier. I opened my laptop and booked a week at a small coastal inn in Oregon, a place where fog rolled in each morning and no one cared who your family was. As I stepped onto my balcony, cool night air brushing my cheeks, the city lights shimmered across the horizon. I breathed in slowly, deeply, peacefully. For once, silence didn't feel like exile. It felt like independence. At the wedding, they sat me by a storage closet. Today, I stood overlooking a city that didn't owe me anything, and I preferred it that way. Sometimes the sharpest revenge isn't rage. It isn't chaos. It isn't even the truth exploding a wedding. Sometimes the sharpest revenge is walking away and letting people choke on the consequences of how they treated you. If you've ever been pushed aside by people who were supposed to love you, know this. Leaving isn't weakness. Leaving is healing. Leaving is power. So tell me, have you ever walked away from your own family and felt stronger for it?